Wow, we've been quiet this whole time, and that was my fault. But we're back now.
What?
That was that whole spiel that you just did.
Yeah.
We were on mute.
Oh. Oops.
Yeah, so we need to reintroduce ourselves.
Oh
Sorry about that. My fault, completely.
Well, once again, introduction. Good morning. I'm Salem, here with another episode of Brunch and Build, and today we are joined by our wonderful producer, Heather.
Hello. I am so sorry for that.
Well, yeah, Heather's actually here every week, but this is actually the second time that her voice will be joining us as well. It was really fun last time she was here, so hopefully it will be really fun again, and I hope you all enjoy.
So what you building this week?
I'm not sure if it's my fault, if it's my preview thing. Okay.
What's up?
Okay, for a second it looked like it wasn't broadcasting the image wasn't showing up properly, but we're good. Okay. That was on my end.
Okie.
I have like a separate thing so I can look at comments and stuff. But yeah, just a little recap from last week because once again a little recap from last week. We finished panel lining the perfect grade unicorn.
Yay.
I am really happy for him to finally be done. This was a monster project. He was a monster project undertaking. Definitely the biggest, most complex kit I've ever built. And it was really fun. It was super fun to finally like look at him and have him finished. I tested out the LEDs. He looks so cool. He's ready to karate chop the sun. I'm so happy.
Hi-ya.
I'm so happy. He looks so cool. And obviously we're going to take a ton of pictures of him when he's all posed up. And of course, if you're local to Connecticut, you are welcome to come by the Tabletop Gaming Center and check him out, where he'll be on display, so you can get a first-hand look at the fruits of my labor, the journey that you guys have joined me on. I'm very excited. But anyway, because we finished him last week, I mentioned it last week as well, but I am starting a new kit this week. The high-grade Amaim Ghost. It's not from Gundam. It's one of Sunrise's other mecha anime, Kyokai Senki, I believe. I haven't seen it, but it looks interesting. But I picked this one because he looks cool. There's a couple other Kyokai Senki kits that also look pretty cool. There's like a ninja-looking dude. There's a few other ones, but I picked this one just because I thought he would be fun and I liked his colors. But yeah, I thought it'd be really nice to kind of wind down from finishing a perfect grade with a nice little cool-looking high grade. And yeah, right now we're just unpacking all of his runners. I'm not sure how other people like to do it. I'm gonna put this a little bit this way so the plastic rustling ASMR isn't too bad, hopefully.
Oh, I love ASMR though, because I'm like one of those people. I love ASMR a lot.
I don't know. For some reason ASMR doesn't really like. It feels like someone's creeping up on me. It gives me
it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
It helps me sleep, specifically, so.
For me, it does the opposite. It just gives me anxiety. I feel like someone is coming up behind me, and I'm like, oh god, what's happening? Especially when a lot of ASMR people do all the like, kind of sound triggers and all that. I'm like, what's happening?
Yeah, I know a couple people who really don't like it, but like, I don't know. It was weird for me because growing up, I always had those like ASMR tingle things. Like someone would talk to me, and I'd be like, "Yo, what is happening?" And I thought it was like this weird thing that no one else had. And then when I was Googling it to make sure I wasn't like had some weird thing, I found ASMR and I was like, "Yo, there's a whole community that has this. Yo, I'm not broken apparently."
That's good, at least. Personally, that's not me. It's cool that it's like, I don't know, like I understand that it's like satisfying for a lot of people and that's really cool, but personally, I feel like it just does weird things to my brain in a not, it's funky in a not good way, to me at least.
Ross the Red has said, I thought it was a meme until I found the right thing, and it's low mic static. Can't stand popping stuff.
Ah, that's fair. I know I'm not against all ASMR. Like there's some people that I watch that do like variety content, including ASMR, like some streamers that I watch that also do ASMR stuff. And it's not always like bad. I think ASMR, there's like some people where they just like talk in a nice voice, and it's like
The whispering.
yeah,
I like that.
Like that one's not as bad. I feel like those ones I can deal with, especially when it's like someone's voice that I like.
Yeah. So personally, my big thing is I cannot stand wet noises.
Oh my
So
God.
if someone's doing like the like really wet mouth sounds, that stuff, I'm like, nope, that's not for me. I'm out. I like just in general. It's like the tapping. I like the tapping.
That's fair. That one's not too bad for me. Like the tapping stuff is like, okay, yeah, you know, it's just sounds.
Yeah.
The wet mouth noises definitely give me a weird
That's weird.
feeling.
Yeah. Like if you're into that, that's fine,
Yeah, if
right?
you're
But
into-
like, I can't.
Yeah, to be clear, if you can be into whatever you're into, I would never like
We don't
disrespect.
shame here.
We don't shame here. It's just, you know, different strokes for different folks. Yeah, like there's some like YouTubers and streamers that like they just read. I think there's this one guy on YouTube who just like reads like mythology stories
That's dope.
in a quiet voice, and it's pretty nice.
For a school project, once I did a whole like pretend podcast on the Greek mythology of Hades and Persephone.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, no, it was great. And my teacher was like, you should just do this as a thing. And then I was like, I don't have the mental energy to just do a podcast regularly like that. Which is weird because that's technically what we're doing right now, kind of.
Yeah,
like,
well,
visually.
there's a visual component,
Yeah.
so it's technically
Well, yeah.
different.
Yeah. And that's what my job became, I guess, because this and feedback loop. But I didn't want to do something for myself. I like working for other people.
That's fair. That's fair. I like listening to a lot of podcasts.
I fall asleep, man. I can't help it, but I need something visual or I pass out.
For me, I never like listen to podcasts by themselves. It's always like a multitasking thing.
Yeah.
Like I have it usually when I'm like doing a task or I'm working on something, I'll have a podcast as just like background noise. And again, it depends on what kind of podcast and what I'm doing. Like if I'm doing work, like something that requires the use of my brain power, I'll have like, usually in those situations, I'd most likely use music. Oh yeah, I'm one of those people that always have to have background sound. Like I very rarely am like in silence. I always like listening to something in the background, whether it's like music, a podcast, a YouTube video, something, just usually something. And so if I'm like doing something that's like high brain power, in those cases, I'm more likely to listen to music or just like a podcast that I don't have to think too hard about. Like I listen to a lot of, I know it's a little bit spicy at the moment, but I like true crime podcasts. It really depends on what type.
What makes that spicy? Is there something I don't know about?
I know it could just be because I use Twitter too much, but there's some discourse about like the ethics of true crime podcasts, which is pretty fair. There are definitely some types of true crime podcasts and some aspects of it that are really not great, and like,
Well, so like there's also the two true crime TV shows and stuff though. So I feel like if it's a genre that's been around a while.
oh yeah, definitely. Like
So-
I like true crime because I grew up watching like Unsolved Mysteries on PBS.
Yeah. And so I feel like if the people involved give permission, it shouldn't be as spicy as I guess people are making it.
Yeah.
Also, it's Twitter.
Yeah. The problem is that sometimes, again, like it depends on the true crime podcast. Like the problem is that sometimes people don't get permission
Yeah.
and they talk about, like it gets really dicey
Yeah.
when you're talking about things that are more recent history.
Yeah. I think if you're invading someone's privacy, that's problematic.
Yeah, I think.
But it gets weird too in the sense of like journalistic and rights, because if you take at me as someone who went to school for communications and had to like learn about journalistic integrity and rights as a journalist and what you can and can't do, they're like journalists are heavily protected. So like it puts up to the weird question of like, would these people be considered journalists, even, because that's another thing that's been a huge like point of conversation, is like if someone's reporting something independently, if they're tweeting something, if they're spreading information, are they protected by the same journalistic rights as like a journalist that is hired by a newspaper? And it's been heavily debated. It's very interesting, not to geek out or anything.
No, I think that's really interesting. Like, I've always found journalism really fascinating. Like, I listen to a lot of, I consume a lot of like news adjacent, or like not necessarily like, I don't like sit there watching CNN all day, but I do listen to a lot of podcasts about like a variety of topics, from like history and politics and things like that, and true crime. And so, yeah, there can be like an argument made that sometimes like this should count as journalism, because again, like, it does. I don't think true crime is like inherently immoral. I think some people kind of that are on Twitter a little bit too much view true crime as inherently immoral.
Again, I think that's also just like Twitter and the internet.
That is also just the internet in general.
People on Twitter like to get on like this, we gotta be against something, like we gotta be like together and be like, let's fight this bad thing. And sometimes I feel like the thing that people decide to fight isn't necessarily as meaningful as other things are.
Yeah, definitely.
But that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I definitely, I totally feel that. I think sometimes people like to jump on bandwagons without fully considering what they're doing. But, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And, like, I think there is some times when true crime can veer into like, oh, this isn't good territory, but most of the time, like at least the ones that I really listen to, it's either from like things that like families have given permission for journalists to talk about, like publicly available information that like the families of victims and whatnot who've like expressly given permission of like, it's okay to talk about this, it's okay to spread awareness about this. Like, I think that like that's perfectly fine, obviously. And then also like when it comes to more recent things, again, it's if the family is not giving permission to like talk about it, don't do that. There are some true crime podcasts that do it anyway, and I think that's wrong. And then there's also just like the way you talk about it, making sure everything you say is accurate. I feel like
or respectful.
And respectful. That's like the biggest thing that people are kind of contentious about, of like, are true crime podcasts like respectful? And again, it just depends on the podcast. Like, and how you choose to like consume that, like how you choose to interpret it. Because there's some true crime that's like more like true crime and comedy, where it's people kind of just there's like a type of true crime podcast where it's like people kind of just talking to each other about true crime, and so obviously like it's a podcast, they're friends, they banter, but you know, some people kind of view that as being disrespectful, which is, I don't know if I fully agree with, because I don't know, I just feel like
it's a tricky subject.
Yeah.
But you know what we haven't talked about today? The brunch part of Brunch and Build. What did you have for breakfast?
You're right. I actually have not been able to eat too many things that are super solid, because I mentioned this. Oh yeah, I mentioned this to Heather earlier, but not on stream. I have to get my wisdom teeth out.
Your teethies, they are hurting you.
My poor teeth, they are hurting me. Right now,
you're the second. So I was also telling this to Salem. Ryan, the DM of Feedback Loop, which airs on Tuesdays, also was having wisdom teeth problems, and if you noticed, we weren't live for a couple of weeks. It was because like he had to get like surgery and all this other stuff. So like I guess all of my cast members are having teeth problems.
It's contagious. You know, I didn't know.
Oh no.
I didn't know this, but perhaps this is to be studied. That, you know, maybe
issues
teeth
are contagious.
teeth problems are contagious.
I would like to take this second to say we are not medical practitioners.
Oh yeah,
and this is us.
This is your conjecture.
If
I
you
have
cannot
never
tell.
been to medical school a day in my life. So keep that in mind. But, you know, I'm just putting it out there. It's possible that maybe.
Well, I for like once have been eating breakfast regularly.
Ooh.
And I had a nice little breakfast bowl that was like a Jimmy Dean chorizo bowl. So I had some spicy sausage, rice, and like eggs. It was good for a microwave breakfast bowl.
That's cool. I think the microwave breakfast bowls are cool. I've never really like been able to get them because they all have some form of like either bacon or ham in it.
Yeah.
Which, alas, I cannot consume.
Even if you find like a vegetable one?
I've seen veggie ones, but I've never tried them because I don't know how much I trust like microwaved vegetable. I mean, I've had microwave like steamed vegetables. That's not inherently bad. But I don't know. I've never tried them. Usually they have some form of pork meat in them, and the times that they don't, I just didn't really, I don't know, it just didn't, I just felt like I could go make myself an omelet.
I'm just lazy, and I also have to wake up early to bring my husband to work now, which is why I've been having breakfast. So now I'm just gonna live the train of microwave eggs. It's not the best part. The best part's the rice. I like the rice.
There's rice in it?
Yeah, it's rice, spicy sausage, some peppers and like onions, and like rice, and it's just kind of nice. Oh, and cheese, because you have to have cheese. But yeah, it's like decent actually as far as like microwave breakfast bowls go.
Yeah, that doesn't sound half bad.
Professor NJ, is asking
we are
if
doing a new model
Yeah.
today. This is it's a high grade Amaim Ghost because we finished panel lining the perfect grade last week.
He is in the room though. He's hiding. We might show him off a little later.
Yeah. I actually brought him with me to bring him to the store and like bring him over here so we can pose him up and put him on display. But right now, yeah, we're doing the high grade Amaim Ghost. I don't know if you didn't see it earlier. Oh wait, I don't know how directions work. Oh wait, I could just show you the box lid. Here's what he's gonna look like. He looks really cool. I'm very excited. And yeah, I just thought it would be a nice little cool down from finishing a perfect grade to do like just a high grade.
I mean, I feel like you have a bunch of models lined up at this point.
I do indeed.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
I still need to do research into that other really big model that someone requested to see if we can get it. I don't remember its name. I'm bad.
It's okay. I don't think I fully remember either, but
It was another like really expensive model, but cheaper than the unicorn.
Yeah, the unicorn is a lot, but he's cool, so he's worth it.
Yeah. So I would have to talk to my boss to see if that's something we could get for you and have another display piece.
Yeah. For right now, though, I have besides the Amaim Ghost, I have 2 more kits lined up that I'm very excited for. The next one may... What?
Oh, I was just gonna say, let's keep them secret for surprise. But if you want to tell them, you can.
I think I've already talked about them.
Oh, have you?
At least I've talked about the Gundam wing that I want to do. I think that one I've mentioned before. The next kit after I finish the Amaim Ghost, which I don't think should take very long. It's a high grade. But the next kit I have lined up after this one is a master grade Endless Waltz Gundam wing, which I'm very much looking forward to because he looks really cool. And I think someone commented before that he's very indicative of my taste. I have a very like kind of flashy taste and kind of gaudy taste in Gundam, which is fair. I do.
I mean, but that's okay. You can like flashy things. Like, I'm really particular of my opinion that is not worth a dang, but my opinion is that it's not a good Gundam unless it can tow. I love
toe movement.
Yeah, I love toe joints for no reason other than I think they're cool for posability purposes. And if it can't tow, I get really sad.
There's since I moved back to Connecticut I moved back to Connecticut more recently, because I'm moving apartments, and so I'm gonna be in Connecticut for a few months before I move back to my new apartment in New York. And so I had to of course I brought all of my Gundam with me. And I kind of put off unpacking a lot of that stuff for a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I finally got around to unpacking my Gundam stuff and the kits that the handful of kits that I have already built and all that. And I unpacked my Master Grade Mark II. I think it's the RX-78 Mark II, version 2 Master Grade, something like that. He's blue, he's from Zeta Gundam, and he has really, I remembered because I was taking him out and posting him, he's lived in a box for a hot minute now, but I took him out and I posed him a couple days ago, and I was like, yeah, he's got really good toe movement.
Right?
His leg joints are really good. I have him in this really cool, he's usually Gundam posing is the bane of my existence. I know, hot take.
That's people's favorite thing though.
I know, a lot of people really love posing their Gundam, which is totally valid. But for me personally, I just feel like it's so tedious. I don't particularly like doing it. But
my mic keeps flopping around, so if you hear me messing with it, I'm sorry. Chat. I'm trying.
Yeah, but my Master Grade Mark II, his movement is just so cool. His movement is so cool, including
this
his
is why
funky little
toes are
toe joint.
important.
Including his funky little toe joint, which makes
right?
Yeah, which makes me able to do a lot more interesting poses with him.
My husband thinks I'm crazy. So my husband really likes Gundam, hence why I have as much knowledge in my little knowledge pool of Gundam as I do. And anytime he buys something, I'm like, does it have a toe? And he's like, no. And I'm like, then I don't care. And I walk away. I'm so mean.
Honestly, that's pretty valid. Toes really do add a lot to posability and movement, and I feel like more kits should include them. Should include nice.
It's very specific kits, and it's if it has a toe, it's probably a more expensive kit. And I'm like, I guess because they have to engineer and print those parts out for it to be able to have that toe joint, and obviously I think these kits that have toes tend to come with other things, or might be higher grades, because not all master grades or whatever the higher one is above high grade.
Real grades?
Yeah, real grades, I think. Right? No, I thought that was below high grade. No. Goes high grade, real grade, master grade?
It usually, some people kind of interchange them. Some people go high grade, master grade, real grade, and then perfect grade. Okay. Personally, I kind of think they're a little bit interchangeable. I don't really, comparing master grades and real grades is kind of funky to me because they're pretty vastly different experiences. It's kind of funny, I know you guys don't see all of the kits that I've built off stream, but most of the kits I've been building lately I've definitely made more real grades than I've made master grades, which is usually some people consider that do that the other way around, but I don't know. I've been building several real grades lately. I don't know why. It just is what it is.
MG big with less detail, RG small with more detail.
Yeah, that's exactly the distinction. Master grades do have a decent amount of detail. It's more detail than a high grade, definitely. Yeah. But they
don't always have a toe though.
It is less detailed.
That's what I think my conversation with him happened, was that I think he got a master grade, and I noticed that it had significantly less detail to it, and I was like, bruh, where's its toe? you paid all this money for this big thing and it doesn't have a toe? Not interested. And he was like, what is wrong with you? he got so annoyed with me.
Oh, Manufacturing says hello, Heather.
Oh, hi. Yeah. For any regulars, if you see Heather wants cookies in chat, that's me. I like talking and inducing conversation, but it's hard to do that when I'm actually talking to Salem. So you might not see me in chat today. Sorry, but you can talk to me here. I love memes and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, toe not included. It depends on the kit. Like, my Master Grade Mark II does, in fact, have that toe movement. But if you look at, like, I have my little I actually brought my real grade unicorn with me today because today we're going to be finished, like, posing up perfect grade unicorn, and I just want a picture of big unicorn with little baby real grade. And just be like, do not ever talk to me or my son. Do not talk to me or my son ever again. Because that really is what they look like. I think last week when we were finishing up the perfect grade, I brought out my real grade unicorn for like a little size comparison. Mm-hmm. And man, my real grade is basically like the size of the perfect grade's arm.
Yeah, no, that's
like,
crazy.
That's the difference between like a 1/44th scale and a 1/60th scale. It's kind of insane.
One of my favorite things you did with the big unicorn was that when you were sending me pictures of it being done, having it just sitting in a chair. Oh yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh, I love this so much. Yeah, because I chilling in a chair.
I finished it, and I didn't want to put him back in the box because I was worried about his like parts rattling around. Yep. So I just wanted to like set him down somewhere, and I have this chair in my room, and so I just sat him down on this little armchair, and so he was just chilling there for a little while. And it was really fun. It was really fun to mess around with him because he's so big and he's so posable and detailed. You can just make him do so many things.
New Gundam challenge. Take photos of your Gundam doing human people things.
Oh, that's one of my favorite things to see online.
Please.
People make like stop motion animation. People make like fun poses with their Gundam. I see it all. I see it sometimes. It's super fun. I love looking at that when people make their Gundam do funny things.
The first thing I would do if I had like a master grade, like a big one, and if I could sit it down, I'd put like a bowl in its lap, fill the bowl with some cereal, and have it like holding a spoon like it's eating the cereal.
Oh my god, you could totally, like his hands are so poseable, you could totally do that.
Yes, I would be so down to clown to make my Gundam look like it's eating cereal because that's funny to me.
Oh, that's so good. You know, maybe we might have a little photo shoot with Mr. Perfect Grade today. Who knows?
I don't have a bowl for cereal. Well, we do have a dollar store, like, right by. I could go to the dollar store, probably buy some cereal, and we could do this, and it would be really funny. And I will add these, and if it gets approved, I will add these photos to, like, the beginning slideshow.
Oh my god, yeah, that would be so funny.
Yo, we've had the ramen model kits before.
The ramen model kits are fun. They look cool. Have them eat it. Give him like a nice little cup noodle. Pose him. I don't know if he can hold chopsticks, but he could definitely hold like a spoon.
I get enough sushi that I have chopsticks at my desk, so we can try to see if we can get him to hold chopsticks.
His hands might be a little bit too small, so he might only be able to hold a single chopstick.
Well, no, so what we do is we put the chopsticks in both hands.
Oh my god.
And then we have him holding it his hands together, so like you position the chopsticks like chopsticks.
Oh my god.
And he just needs to use both hands to do the chopsticks.
Oh.
It would look ridiculous, but
he would look so ridiculous. It would be so funny. Oh my god, there's just so many opportunities for what you could do.
Has anyone in chat or viewers posed their Gundam in a human way, and what were they doing if you did? I have to know if other people are as memey as we are.
I just feel like it's such an opportunity. I've seen, because I watch like Gundam YouTubers and stuff sometimes. I know sometimes people do that, and it's really funny. It's one of my favorite things. And honestly, it's such a good. It's just like, what's the point of having this fun little action figure man if you don't do fun things with him?
That is true. It was so funny when my husband first moved in with me and we were dating. I knew model kits and stuff existed because, like, his nerd. But all of a sudden, he would buy all these model kits all the time. And my personal space, because we were sharing my room, very quickly became overrun by gunpla. And I'd be like, why is there so many robots? Why? What is happening? What is going? Like, you know the meme from Rugrats where it's like Tommy's dad making pudding, and he's like, God. I don't know where my life's gone to, or whatever he says. That's how I felt like. I was like, why is there so many robots? My life has gotten out of my hands.
Oh, I'm sorry. That would absolutely be me. I'm the one. I mean, my current boyfriend, he's also into Gundam stuff, and so I feel like if we were to combine our collections, it would be so funny.
Our space comrade. That's funny.
Our space comrade. Yeah.
That reminds me of all the Magic players in our store. That's like, we have a bunch of Commander players, and it becomes like our cards, because there's a lot of Magic cards that can, like, make everyone share stuff, so it just becomes like everyone's turn, and it's like, why are you making oatmeal at 4 a.m? Because I've lost control of my. That's what I feel. Why is there Gundam everywhere? Because I've lost control of my life. So many tiny robots. They're all staring at me. Oh no. We got him a shelf, so now he can only put his stuff on the shelf, as opposed to literally all over my room. Our room. Well, it's our room now, but it was literally like my room when he moved in. I was like, hey, my space is just infiltrated by tiny robots.
I would say that's a good thing, but you know.
Do you dig giant robots, Salem?
Of course. I mean, I feel like that should be kind of obvious. Considering.
Sorry, my brain just went to the song that's like, you dig giant robots.
I do, in fact, dig giant robots. I'm trying to figure out the correct orientation. I think this is it, right? Yes. Oh no, I just put it in the wrong slot. That's why it wasn't fitting correctly. I was like, why isn't it? It's classic me. Just putting the wrong peg in the wrong slot.
Yes, the Megas XLR theme song. So in middle school and early high school, plot twist, she hates robots.
Oh yeah, you guys will never know my secret that I actually hate robots.
Well, I thought you hate the sun is the thing. You want to karate chop the sun with the robot.
With a giant robot.
Yeah. But in middle school and like early high school, I was friends with a bunch of people online that did voice acting stuff and like abridging specifically. And a few of my friends were in the Code Geass abridge.
Wait, the Code Geass abridge? You know the one where
not the soup one.
Okay, I was like, that would be so insane.
There was another one that was not as popular, and I think it came out slightly before the soup one, but like not accusing anyone of stealing anything. It was all around the same time when everyone was doing bridged. It was not the soup one. But I love the soup one.
The soup, I'm sorry, tangent. The soup video is single-handedly the reason why I've never seen Code Geass.
Why? It's so good. Code Geass is amazing. It is nothing. Know. It is nothing like, even though I love him, he's hilarious.
See, that's why though, because like again, so many people have told me that I would like Code Geass, and I 100% believe them. Code Geass looks really good, and it looks exactly like something that would be up my alley, like something I would like. Mm-hmm. But I watched the soup video, and now whenever I try and watch,
I'm buying clothes.
Hello, sorry, I can't.
Hello? I can't talk right now. I'm buying clothes.
I'm buying clothes. Where are you buying clothes? At the soup store.
No, that's not the line.
I know it's not. I'm trying to be family friendly.
Well, we just don't say the ending.
That's true. Oh, I can't talk. I'm buying clothes. What do you mean you're buying clothes?
I can't find them.
What do you mean you can't find them?
There's only soup.
What do you mean there's only soup?
There's just soup.
Where are you?
No, it's go to the next aisle.
Just go. Oh, yeah.
There's more soup.
Go to the next aisle.
Where are you? I'm at the soup store.
Why are you buying
clothes at the soup store? And then we don't say the rest.
Oh yeah, we have to be family friendly here. It's very good. I love the cultural impact that the soup video has.
The fact that because of TikTok it revived a little bit, it made me so happy to see that audio
really
for the other
nice.
things. I was like, yes, my middle school-ness.
My middle school life.
But anyways, not that Code Geass abridged. Another Code Geass abridged. They used the You Dig Giant, wrote that one, the theme song,
Yeah.
as the opening. And so I just only think about I have a strict association with that and gunpla and Code Geass.
You dig giant robots. Yeah, just like Ross the Red said, maybe he might be onto something. I enjoy building giant robots. I enjoy building robots, so I can send a message to the other robots to not mess with me.
Oh. Sorry, my brain was like, you go start a war with robots, and I thought that was really
that's
funny.
that is the plot of Gundam.
I know, no, but like, I don't know why I just started giggling because my brain, it was the simplest thing of just like you fighting fire with fire, essentially.
Yeah.
And then I just started giggling because I have the strangest sense of humor.
I understand. It might sound counterproductive to, even though I secretly hate giant robots, to just build more robots so I can prevent robots.
That sounds like a great anime antagonist.
Actually, yeah. You know what?
Someone who hates it, so they're doing the thing to end the thing. That sounds like an anime antagonist.
That's my anime villain arc. I'm gonna be entering my anime villain arc where the plucky, robot pilot protagonists, I also make giant robots, but it's because I hate giant robots and I just want to defeat all the giant robots.
With your best giant robot.
With my giant robots, even though I hate
And then
robots.
you slice the sun in half.
And then I slice the sun in half, because also I hate the sun.
What is this?
That's the plot of my anime.
The tabletop gaming center Gundam anime.
Yeah. I'll be the antagonist that hates robots, that actually hates robots. And also the sun. I have diverse things I dislike.
Yeah, your portfolio is very diverse.
Of course. I think it's it's really funny. I'm sorry. I've been on like the job hunting grind. And so I've had to look at my resume so many times.
Heck yeah, you built that Gundam.
Yes. Build a Gundam. Join me.
That's what this is all about. You can build Gundam while we build Gundam. You can buy Gundam at the store. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You can buy your supplies here. If you're from Connecticut, please visit the store and buy gunpla.
This is in fact not very subtle plug,
Yeah,
but
this
yes.
is secret advertising via entertainment of us talking about Code Geass Abridged and destroying the sun.
It's going all according to Keikaku.
Oh, that made me so happy.
It's going all
According to Keikaku.
Translators note, Keikaku needs plan. I'm not gonna lie, one of the things, not to be like back in my day, one of the things that I miss about like older anime is fan subbing, because you don't get gems like that anymore.
No.
Now that, of course it's nice that anime is a lot more accessible and that a lot more people get to enjoy it. Like, of course, that's a good thing.
But it's one of the best things, because I also read fan translated manhwa a lot
me
from
too.
Korea. Translator notes and the stuff that people come up with are hilarious.
Oh my god, I also read a lot of fan translated like manhwa and also just manga in general. There's a lot of manga that doesn't get officially translated that's quite good. And like one, they add a lot of like good content to it. Like one, there's the actual functional benefit of people add a lot of like genuinely good notes of like cultural references and things that people otherwise wouldn't get.
I like that. So I personally like that much better than localization, because sometimes localization makes no sense and it's really stupid.
Like I definitely prefer that much more to like something being localized.
I rather learn about another like culture than, you know, in Pokemon calling
eating a jelly donut.
So dumb.
Don't eat a rice ball, eat a donut.
I've like been obsessed lately with learning how to make the whatever, my brain is not working today. The triangle, the
onigiri?
Yes, onigiri.
Yeah.
I've been like looking up different recipes, because I don't think I like the tuna one, because I don't like canned tuna very much. But like there's all sorts of different recipes, and I guess like things have gotten spicy and weird, and like they're coming up with non-traditional like just crazy recipes at places. And I was like, you can just literally put anything in the rice thing apparently, and then eat it. And I'm like, that sounds delicious, because I love rice.
That's like one of the fun things about onigiri. I don't know. Yeah, I definitely feel that. I want to try and make onigiri. It's really funny. I bought this like little like onigiri seasoning mix. That's like tuna flavored, and you're just supposed to like mix it into your rice so you can have like some nice easy onigiri. And I haven't used it yet. I've just been putting it off.
Oh, we need to hang out and just make onigiri.
Yeah.
We just get some sushi rice.
Next week's stream.
We do next stream. It's instead of building gunpla, we make onigiri.
Yeah.
Just a special stream of making onigiri. I don't know if we can actually do that. But
I don't think we can do that, but you know, it'll be fun in spirit.
I mean, I could potentially bring the rice. Like, we could do it. I just don't know if I want to make onigiri in the stream room where there's a bunch of equipment.
Yeah, I think that's probably not a good idea. But it's okay. If we make onigiri, we will take a lot of pictures. But it will be fun. And yeah, I like, there's a lot of fun like Japanese dishes and stuff. And yeah, translators note, you see, back in my day, I kind of like, it's kind of nostalgic. When I started watching anime, I had to watch it in like 6 parts on YouTube.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
that or like any TV show or movie when YouTube was a wild west of like not monetization.
Copyright did not exist. Back when copyright laws like did not exist.
Well, I mean, they existed. It was just still it was still deemed free use, but then YouTube became a platform in which you can make money.
Oh yeah.
And that's when the copyright laws became into effect, because things are no longer fair use. Fair use, thank you.
Yeah.
It's complicated, but like also sucks because it changed YouTube so much from what it was, right? And like, I can sound like an old phony, whatever it's called, by being like, back in my day, YouTube used to just be crazy, and that was better. But like,
it kind of was though.
Like, there's a lot of good things with with people being able to make money and just offer entertainment value, right? With how YouTube has become, but like the commercialization has also brought a lot of bad things, like all of the hack channels that literally are teaching people to do things that, one, won't work, and two, are very dangerous. And those are like really bad, and YouTube isn't doing anything about them, and that's a huge problem, right? Or like the fact that all the people basically using their kids to make money is also like not good. So like there's a bunch of things wrong with YouTube right now that weren't problems before, and it makes me sad. I wish we could do both. I wish we could have the less restrictive free like actual things that are for free use. Like, you could, like, if you could mark your video of like, I don't want to make money off of this, and like, this is strictly for use, I feel like then it shouldn't be necessarily copyrighted, right? If there's a way to mark your video. And I think that might fix a lot of it, but like there's even like companies now that mark things that they shouldn't because they just are wanting control of everything.
Especially when it's all like algorithm and automized.
No, that's the thing though, like companies are actively, so like it's been proven kind of without YouTube really or companies coming forward, it's been semi-proven just by like YouTubers who can like who get copyright and strike versus other YouTubers who don't. Companies are like silencing YouTubers because they're demonetizing their videos because they don't like what they have to say, even though they're completely falling within the guidelines of reuse. It's actually kind of bad, and it's making it really hard for people to create content that is meaningful to them and like honest, because companies are like, no, we don't like that you say you don't like our product.
Yeah, I watch a lot of like media analysis and like review channels and stuff like that, and like they definitely get struck a lot, even when what they're doing is like transformative.
Yes, exactly.
You know, they're talking about
it's a
something,
huge problem,
but
and
if
it hurts my soul.
Yeah, but if they have the audacity of like using a couple clips to like show something, they'll get super copyright, like they'll get like super demonetized or struck. And it's like, well, and then on top of that, there's a strike system. If you get enough strikes, your entire channel just gets, like,
and it's really stressful for some YouTubers because, again, because YouTube has become a way to make a living and be good for people's livelihoods, it can take away their livelihood, and it's I feel like because of it, the general feel of YouTube videos is a lot less organic and honest, and that's the one thing I miss from when it was not a money-making machine, right? When it was really in its earliest days and everything was just nuts and crazy.
Hello, Kitty, and yes, that is exactly what we're doing.
Sorry, as someone who loves creating content, I I got off on a tangent about being angry at YouTube.
No, that's totally valid. I completely agree. Like, in some ways, it's been nice that, you know, people can monetize the work that they do and like it's nice that people things are much higher production value now since people actually have money to do things to
it's
make
great.
things better.
I love it.
It's really fun and great.
Because then you also get like channels like offline TV, which I love. I love
Yeah.
offline. I love their so I started watching Among Us videos, and that's how I found them, even though they've been around much longer than that. And but you can get channels like that where it's a bunch of creators collaborating to do like really fun content, and because they make money off this content, they can do more, right? And that's like something, and like this type of content that you see would never get put on TV or anything because TV is very restricted. So it's nice that YouTube has given almost like an alternate TV form for people, and like to have the freedom of like no producers, even though, you know, I'm a producer, but having no producers over your head to be like, change that or do that, and it's just completely free for people to make their artistic vision independently. And the commercialization has been such a double-edged sword, where like before, when there was none, you could still like make your artistic vision, but you weren't making money at it. And now that you can make money at it, you're being restricted, and it sucks.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just like, it's rough, and I see it all the time of like a lot of creators that are like get copyright striked even though what they're doing is entirely fair use. It's like, no, you know, showing like people have to be so careful now. It's like kind of ridiculous.
Sponsors has helped a little bit because individual sponsors can pay, or are essentially at this point paying YouTube creators for ad space based on, and if they don't necessarily care about the content they make being negative to their brand or whatever, a lot of YouTubers have been able to make money that way, because YouTube might demonetize you for your content now too because of like swears and things like that, which, you know, we're family friendly, we don't swear here, but like there's a lot of YouTubers that have massive potty mouths and might make a joke that if YouTube doesn't like goes demonetized, right? And so sponsors have helped a little bit, but it's still at the same time, like you get in the middle of a video, hey, this is this week's sponsor. Here's some earbuds, or here's a VPN company.
Yeah.
It's earbuds or VPN. That's all I see on the things.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, like it's kind of funny too, because I have like, I purposefully curate my experience to have as few ads as possible.
I don't necessarily mind them. And you can always fast forward through the ad part of a video. But
Yeah, like, I mean, of course that's usually what I do. I mean, I know I want my favorite creators to like be financially supportive, and that's really good and all, but also,
I'm not buying Raycons just because you told me to, sorry.
yeah, I don't want to listen to my 15th Raycon ad. Please have mercy on me.
Nothing against Raycon or anything. It's just, I've seen it so much that I'm desensitized.
Yeah.
Like all that and like Raid Shadow Legends
Oh my
being a meme.
Yeah. And it's just like, you know, I have on my computer, I have like 3 different ad blockers. And then I pay for YouTube Premium because I feel a little bit bad when I like use YouTube with ad blockers.
Yeah.
That way, like.
Oh yeah, no, that is also something that like if I know people for like ever who have had ad blockers to then watch YouTube and then basically essentially not get anyone paid. That's always bothered me. Recon Shadow Legends. I personally, though I don't pay for YouTube Premium, do not have an ad blocker up because I know that revenue is going to somebody.
Yeah. Like
our channel has ads, right? Like our Twitch channel, I have ads up. That, and I think it's you get an ad every hour is what I programmed. And it's a short ad. It's only 30 seconds. If people subscribe, they don't get ads, right? And it's the same thing, right? It's the supporting the user for the content that they're making, or like by watching an ad, or specifically supporting by like, here is a subscription so you can keep making your content. Like every follow and subscription to us helps the stream and helps me get the budget to do things like this, right? Like you get your gunpla for doing this.
Yeah.
The store has to make that up somehow, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. But like for us to create content, there is an expense to it. So people support if they enjoy it for anything, whether it's YouTube, us, or just for anyone in general. Like I'm all about supporting independent creators. I buy local. Like if I'm on the internet, I don't necessarily go to Amazon. I go to independent creators. I'm all about that. I would rather spend the little extra money to support someone who's trying to make a living on their passion than a corporation. But that's me.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, of course, it's not like I don't use Amazon, but there's a lot of things like, that like I would prefer to buy from, you know, smaller artists and like I follow a lot of artists. A lot of my friends are artists and independent creators and whatnot. And like all the time I see on like, you know, Amazon and like AliExpress and stuff, cheap knockoffs of like things artists have, you know, worked really hard on. And I'm like, I would rather pay like full price to have an artist, like the artist, to support the artist themselves than buy a cheap knockoff of it.
And like also like if you buy something from like someone on Etsy, even though Etsy's kind of going, there's a little drama with Etsy right now, but like if you buy a lot of times if you buy directly from an independent creator, they also give you personalized messages and thank you, and like just as a consumer you get a little more personalized experience, which I like too, because people value that you value them. And I had I had a friend that because I've been needing dice bags because I'm a D&D player and I'm a dice goblin and I collect way too many dice. And I was looking for a new dice bag, and I had a friend on Facebook post that they were at some sort of like swap thing, right? Like where they had a booth somewhere, and I saw a dice bag I liked, and I was like, "Did you ship? I will pay for shipping for this tiny dice bag that you have that I like because I liked the fabric they used." And I don't know. I'm just like that, man.
That's totally valid. Like I keep all of my dice in an IKEA jar, so I can't really say anything. But I definitely like agree that sometimes it's nicer to just pay that little like extra fee. Like I don't want to go into too much detail because it's a gift for someone that might be watching.
Ooh.
So I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I wanted to get this thing that like, because I'm buying it from an independent artist on Etsy, I have the option to like customize it, and
right.
I get like, you know, they're really nice. Like I talked to the artist who's making them, and it's like hand pressed, and it's so cool.
So for the Feedback Loop crew, let's see if I can find one. Oh, they're over there. Cool. I can show one. For the Feedback Loop crew, I bought D&D inspired for their character mug coasters because they're at this one table, and I got them customized.
That's so cool.
And then the person who did it, yeah, you can show it. And the person who did it, here's Ryan's, the DM one. The person who did it sent me one for free.
That's so cute.
Yeah, because they were cutting it out anyways, and they had an extra blank. And she was nice enough, or they were nice enough, I don't know their gender, to send me one for free. No, it would never be on stream. It was because they thought what I was doing was like a really nice thing, and like that's just like something that a lot of independent creators do. That like they take the time and effort to like make a connection with their customers.
Yeah, like what Kittens is saying. I buy a lot of like stationery stuff, and a lot of like washi tapes and stickers and whatnot because I do like bullet journaling stuff. And I've bought stickers and whatnot from just like generic kind of stationery companies. It is whatever, but I also I much prefer buying like stickers and like stationery supplies from independent creators that make their own stuff, because a lot of the time they'll add a lot of nice little notes or like a little like extra stickers that they had extras of something, and I like these cute little designs that I didn't really think about before weren't listed on their shop.
Yeah, no, like
it's just really nice.
Yeah, it is. Like I also get a lot of my crystals because I'm pagan and I like crystals. I'm one of those people. Woo. And metaphysical stuff. But I get a lot of crystals from Etsy, and like not always, and I also don't expect this always, but there's been a few times where I've gotten like extra smaller ones. They've been like, here's a gift for you, thank you for supporting my store. Like it's so nice. Like independent creators are usually so nice, and they go and like and they take all the effort to give you good packaging and a good customer experience. And I don't know, I feel like that people deserve to be supported.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, if I have to pay like an extra few dollars to get that experience, it's usually worth it.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice. It's always great. And at the same time, right, like if you're paying a few dollars, yet they're still giving you a gift at that same, like it's kind of a wash expense-wise anyways.
Yeah.
And it's a cute little surprise. You're like, oh man, I got a couple extra rocks today. Or like a couple really nice stickers. Or this lovely note.
Yeah, or like a nice little note, things like that. I'm kind of like a dweeb. I always like keeping that stuff.
Oh yeah, no. If I get something, like if I buy something from Etsy or online, and the person gives me a little note, I keep that because like I'm so sentimental. And
I'm so sentimental. Like I got a little while back for my birthday last year. I got some jewelry. Someone gifted me some jewelry from like a creator that I really like, an artist that I've liked for a long time that like makes their own jewelry. And the packaging was so beautiful. Like the box, like they draw the box art themselves.
Oh man!
Little shout out. It's Pond Sized Ocean. I love their stuff.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored, but
Salem just likes them, which is fine.
Yeah, and like a really cool jewelry artist that does a lot of cool stuff. But yeah, they made this beautiful little like tag with my name on it, and this beautiful like starry design. Like they drew it themselves, and it was so cool. And like I kept it because even though it's a little tag, it's just so like I don't know, it's just a nice little thing of like this hand-drawn thing with like my name calligraphied and this beautiful star design on it. I'm like,
I am obsessed with supporting artists because I feel like there's a lot of people who don't think someone who creates art, like drawings or digital art or like traditional art, just in general, like print, that type of art. I feel like a lot of people don't think their art is worth the time they put into it. Like there's a lot of people who will be like, oh, can you make me, like this is something because I have a lot of artist friends and this is something I hear all the time. Can you make me this like art piece, but I only want to pay you like $5-10 for it.
I'm like, that's ridiculous.
But it's hours of work. And when you think of like, depending on minimum wage or where you are, like $5-10 for something that takes maybe 3 to 5 hours of work, right? In the most simplest form, right? Because if you're creating something for somebody, you want to make sure that it's quality, right? So like in the most basic form, 3 to 5 hours, right? And someone's like, oh, I only want to pay you $5 for this work. That's nuts to me. When artists need to make a living, and that's like one of the biggest things for me, and when I'm online, is that like I'm on Tumblr all the time. I'm a Tumblrite.
Oh, me too.
And I see people who will reblog and go goo goo gaga over fan art, but when those artists draw like their own art, it gets a lot less attention, which drives me nuts because I'm like, they're doing this thing that they love to do and they want to make art for you and for people and stuff like that. So I will always, like, I might not know what their OC is, but I'm like, I'm reblogging that. That's amazing. Yeah. You're very talented.
Like, especially like, I also have a lot of friends who are artists, and like, I've been getting into like drawing and art myself as well. So I want to try and understand it a lot more. And like, there's a lot of artists that I like that I'm like, yeah, it's so wild that like, even though they have these really amazing creative like original designs and original characters, they don't get as much attention.
The meme
like,
drawing of like the character from that thing, right?
Yeah.
That's what gets attention.
Like, and I kind of get it.
But no, I get it too, because that stuff's great and fun. But like, as someone who's also an artist, it's great when your art, even if it's fan art, like when your fan art gets attention, it's great because you're like, yeah, people like this. But if something that's your original work that you put your heart and soul in, and then people ignore it because they don't know what it is, even though it's like the same artist doing the same type of thing, it kind of makes me sad sometimes.
Yeah.
All art deserves recognition.
Oh yeah. Back to Gundam for a quick second.
Building a PG without instructions sounds funny to do.
Oh my God.
We were so off top. We're just talking.
We're just talking. Anyway, here's a leg. He has a leg now.
Oh yeah.
It's a cool little claw thing. His leg is really funky. This is a really interesting like leg design. Building a perfect grade without instructions sounds like after having finished a perfect grade, I'm not gonna lie, that sounds like absolute hell. Because there's so much stuff. Having to like figure out how to, I mean, there are some parts that are like repetitive. Like I think it might be fun to like build one leg and then try and build the second leg without instructions.
Do it right now. Do it again. Do it right now, except it's not a perfect grid.
You know what? We're gonna try. Okay. Oh wait, there's the first half of the, we're not gonna look at it, okay?
Just look at the name and the pretty art.
I'm just gonna look at the leg and I'm gonna try and remember what I did the first time.
Oh no, this is gonna be so bad.
I think it was like, oh no, I need C2 this time. That's the second.
I can't wait for you to be like, how do I position this? Why isn't this not fitting?
That's absolutely going to happen. I think I remember what I'm supposed to do. Maybe. Oh, I need. Okay. I remember. I know. It's this one. It's 16 and 17.
And this is when the chat's gonna start spamming you to do like posture checks. That'd be so ridiculous.
Oh my God. I'll die.
I'm gonna encourage the chaos. Chat. I'm gonna whisper, even though she probably hears me because she's right next to me. Spam you go into.
I can in fact hear you.
You can't hear me? Oh no, she can hear me. If you just to let everyone know who's watching, you get chat gifts, and if you're watching and stuff like that, you build up rewards points, and then you can use your rewards points to do chat gifts. And there's quite a few that are available right now, and one of them is a posture check. And a couple times on the stream, people have spammed the posture check to be funny.
I just have to stand there and do a whole yoga routine. But it is pretty fair. My spine does get messed up. I am at the age where I get back problems.
Bruh, I just have a messed up spine. My spine is just bad in general.
Understandable.
And it was actually the opposite problem of being too hunched. My back was too straight, so I have too good of a posture. I should hunch over more.
For me, I spent most of my childhood, I was in orchestra. I played the violin growing up. I still know how to play it. I just don't. Oh god.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's so many.
Okay. Oh no. That's so many.
Oh no. What did I do?
Why do I have
That's okay. Wait, how many is that? What? It's still going.
Oh god.
Are you just whoa? Manufaction, are you just using all of your channel points to do posture check?
Okay.
That's so many. I don't know if we could do this many.
I don't know if I can do that many. I don't know if I have the ability.
I might have to turn it off. That's so many. Oh no.
It's okay.
It's like 145. Oh no. 1, 2, 3.
I'm doing a nice stretch.
Okay, we're gonna pause to stretch. Stretch break. Does that mean I have to hunch over because my back is too straight? Do I have to just, for the rest of the stream, just like be a gremlin?
Because Heather is here, we get to share the responsibility of the posture checks. I'm gonna stand up real quick.
Be careful.
I'm watching The Wire, making sure we're gonna do it quick.
This is less a posture check and more a posture final exam. What do I do? Do I just like crawl under the table and hunch over?
It's okay, we're going.
Oh no! I guess I have to. My spine is already super straight. That's the problem. So if I posture check and stretch, I could hurt myself. Balance books on head. Oh no!
I'm doing some nice.
I am witnessing
trunk rotations.
Yes, I'm witnessing this. There's stretching going on. You do
can
not
see from my shadow. I am in fact doing my basic yoga stretches. Okay. I think my spine is okay.
Yay. That was so many. That was 19.
Oh my god. I think I did the equivalent of 19 stretches.
We did take a little bit of a break.
What was the other piece that I needed? Oh man, I'm already forgetting. Okay, wait, I'm just gonna look at the other leg. Oh no, I know what I'm supposed to do. I remember. I feel it. I feel it.
Out here giving them posture checks in their dreams. No, why is there one more?
I'm going to be. Oh god. Okay, one more nice arm stretch, making sure my shoulders are all nice and loosened up. Okay. Oh man. This is definitely not. I don't know what orientation this is supposed to be at, but we're going to remember. I'm going to try to remember. I think this is correct. I mean, it's reversible. I think it's fine if it's the wrong side. Okay.
If you need the instructions, don't break your brain. It's fine. I don't want you to like accidentally go too far and not go back.
It's a high grade. The stakes aren't too high. Like it's definitely very fixable even if I make a mistake. Okay. I remember I need 8 and 10. That is for sure. I remember how to do this part. I just don't remember if this is the order I'm supposed to do it in, but I'm pretty sure this is it. I don't know what else would be in between. Because I remember the general shape of the leg and what it's supposed to do. Because there's these two pieces, they snap together like so. I did that.
Yay.
And then I need 7, so it'll look like that. See, I have some brain cells. I can remember things sometimes. Occasionally. Not that often, but occasionally. Yeah, that goes like that. And then I do something else. What was the other thing? Oh, I need the B pieces now. Oh, God. Now that I have to bring in the B runners. Oh, God. I don't remember. I don't remember which ones I need. There's B3, B2, B1.
Yes, just lay over the one thing and then see what's missing and then go, aha, this is what I need.
I think it's these ones, like B14 and 15. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I know I will need them. I just don't remember if this is when I need them. Okay. I think this is a fun little challenge to try and remember how the leg works. I feel like you can see from the challenge I'm having from just remembering how to do the second leg of a high grade, me trying to do a perfect grade without instructions is probably a little bit impossible. I feel like I'm missing something. I remember what I'm supposed to do at this step, but I feel like there's a step in between that I missed. I'm gonna cut out these pieces because I know I need them. And I know there's like something I'm supposed to be doing.
Ban annoying words in feedback loop. I don't know if I turn on the word ban for feedback loop. Ryan would kill me if I did that. Ryan would be like, why? Why are you doing that? Ryan already is like on the fence about the chat gifts with the inspiration and stuff because it influences the game a little bit. But he's in control of what he gives, so like he can like since he has control, he's okay with it. But like if I just had y'all banning, like imagine, oh my gosh, imagine if someone banned like the word dice in a D&D stream.
Oh no.
That'd be so bad.
Okay, I'm bringing out the instructions. I'm pretty sure there's a step that I missed. Unfortunately, my instruction-free challenge did not get that far. There was a piece I was missing. It was this one. It was C218. I knew I was missing something.
You're planning on banning miss? Why miss? Or roll? No.
Rest in peace.
Well, I am going to inform you that you do not need to save up for ban a word for feedback loop because ban a word is not turned on for feedback loop. Just letting you know. Because again, Ryan would kill me. We also only redeem them at the break, so like you wouldn't even get the ban for like the whole session. Feedback loop has slightly different rules because it is a not. So because it's more of a show and it's like people playing. Angry cat emoji. Because it's more of a show and people are playing and trying, there's a lot of improv and like just the table needs to focus, which they already have trouble doing. I have different chat gifts for them because there's a lot less chat interaction. There's like none. There's me, like I am running the stream and also talking to chat while the stream is live. But as far as the chat is more for the people who are viewing to talk to each other and not and less talking to the cast. We are planning though, because feedback loop is, oh man, it's over in like a month. They have 4 sessions left. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. Feedback Loop has 4 sessions left, right? So we're planning after that, because we're going to take a break until like sometime in August, that we might do like a submit your questions type thing, and like people can submit their questions up to a specific amount of time, and then the cast will answer them. And yeah. It's going to be cool and fun. Yeah, no. We got some cool stuff planned. So if you also are watching and watch Feedback Loop, stay tuned for that, because I need to set that up still, but that's something that we're going to be doing.
That sounds fun and interesting.
Yeah, and then I need to figure out what I'm filling Tuesdays with while Feedback Loop is on break. I might ask around.
It's me building more guns.
You want to come in on Tuesdays and build more Gundam? That, or I'm thinking about maybe trying to do like a one-shot of something with like a different crew.
That might be fun if you're doing more D&D stuff. I mean, I'm already in like...
If you're available on Tuesday nights, let me know.
That I might, I mean, I'm back. If it's a short thing, I might be able to make it work.
Okay.
What's it? Right now, there's a D&D group I've been in for like the past couple years that we've been meeting regularly. Of course, we like go on hiatus sometimes based off of our schedule. Most of us are students.
Yeah.
Most of us are still students, so we have to adjust. Oh man. We have to adjust our schedules accordingly. But for the most part, that's like been my group for the past good chunk of time. And yeah, so I've been in that group for a while, but more recently, one of my DM for that group, their friend, wants to get into DMing, and so wants to do like kind of like a trial campaign, and so I agreed to join it because I thought it'd be fun, and also because I haven't played 5th Ed, because it's a 5th Ed campaign. And
see, I play exclusively 5th Ed because I'm a newbie.
That's fair. I mean, 5th Ed is fun. Like, it's definitely good for what it is.
Well, yeah. So like, I, as many nerds didn't really have friends in school, and it wasn't until college that like I met people. And because D&D is a team sport, 5th Ed was what everyone was playing, so that's what I got into. So I've been playing for over 5 years. I just haven't played any of the older stuff yet.
That's fair. I mean, like, I also started with 5th Ed. I also started with 5th Ed and all that. I think like most people did that got into it like more recently. But I started getting more into like other TTRPGs. Like I started playing in 5th Ed after like a year or two. I started DMing in 5th Ed.
Yeah.
And I don't really remember how, but I ended up getting into like just other TTRPGs in general. And a couple years ago, when I started playing in the group that I am in right now, that DM, he highly favors 3.5, and so that's how I got introduced to 3.5th Ed. And now when I play, like, if I'm not playing like a different TTRPG, when I'm playing D&D for the past like 2 years or so, I've really only been playing 3.5.
A lot of people like 3.5.
I really like 3.5. This is my pitch, my occasional pitch for 3.5th Ed, which is really fun. I love 3.5. It's definitely different from 5th Ed. That is for sure. It is in fact different from 5th Ed. Who could have seen that one coming?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of stuff in it. Like, there's more things that don't exist in 5th Ed, so.
Yeah, one of the biggest, like, it's very different gameplay-wise. Like, it's definitely a lot more, I don't want to say intense, but it is more intense. Like, you definitely have to think about your actions and what you're doing a lot more. Because
so I already kind of do that in 5e because I'm a very cautious person. But I play with people who literally, like, will get themselves killed in 5e, and to imagine them trying to play.
I cannot. Now that I've been playing 3.5, I'm like, I can't even imagine dying in 5e. I'm like, it's so easy to stay alive in 5th Ed. Like, I mean, it's not inherently a bad thing, but like, in 5th Ed, you're supposed to be alive. Like, in 3.5, cantrips don't exist. There's 0th level spells. Oh man, Oh man, the spreadsheets. There's zeroth level spells, but even those have a finite amount of spell slots. So you have to really, like, resource conservation is very important. It's a lot harder to build spell slots. It's a lot harder to cast spells. There's, like, HP regeneration is wildly different. Instead of a long rest heals all your HP, a long rest only heals 1 hit die worth of dice.
What?
And so earlier levels, it's not as bad.
No, but like in later levels, that sounds terrifying.
Oh, absolutely. Like, imagine you have like 150 HP and you can only heal, like, I think it scales a little bit. I think it scales a bit as you get to higher levels, but it's meant to be a gradual healing. There's no like insta heal unless you have like some insane high level like potions or something.
Invest in wands of cure wounds.
Yeah. Yeah, you basically have to invest in wands of cure wounds.
So like, that sounds crazy to me. That makes me want to stay in 5e.
It's not. I mean, it's difficult.
I like the simple. Well, because like I like making RP choices. Like I'm really heavy into RP.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like,
and so
that's kind of what 5e is meant for. It's meant more for RP stuff, which is why it is the way it is. And I think that's really cool. I like that 5th ed is like that, because I also very much go heavy into RP stuff. That's part of why I like the group that I'm in right now, is all of us, like, I've had problems before with groups that I've played with where I am someone that always likes to put like maximum effort into like story and RP.
Same. Like Ryan ran a Curse of Strahd game for our friends group.
Ooh, Curse of Strahd's fun.
Oh, it's so good. But it was a module campaign, right? Mm-hmm. And I decided, I was like, Ryan, can my character be a vampire? Because I really wanted to be in the setting. Mm-hmm. And he was like, why not? He ended up later regretting this. But so my whole backstory, like I made a whole one. Like I made a whole forest, like massive, like think of like Amazonian forest, right? And I was a wood elf, and I made like a whole like wood elf tribal nation essentially that lived in this forest, and like came up with like very specific things that they did that were like outside of the norm of normal society, and like other things like that, just this whole thing. And I so I made this whole society, and then his backstory was he got bit by a vampire without knowing what a vampire was, because his society was separated. And so everyone thought he died, and then he woke up and he was alive, and everyone was like, yo, miracle, bet. And then he was like really hungry, but food wasn't doing anything because he was a vampire. And then he blacks out. He wakes up in the woods, covered in blood, taste of blood in his mouth.
As vampires do.
Yeah, but then he was like hearing screaming and stuff coming from his village, and because he was so terrified, he just ran.
Oh.
Well, because he didn't know what he was, because he wasn't hungry anymore. Mm-hmm. But like he felt like he did something even though he had no idea what he did. And so because he was so ashamed and so scared about what happened, he just ran. And in the course of him running, he ended up in Barovia, essentially. Mm-hmm. So all of the stuff I made for the society didn't even really matter. But it was integral to my character and how he like thought about things.
I completely feel that. One of my I did this thing. One of my favorite like D&D story like campaigns that I've been in mm-hmm. was the first campaign I played with this group. It wasn't even D&D. We were playing Lancer, which mm-hmm. was a mecha RPG, a mecha mm-hmm. TTRPG, which is really fun, by the way. I love Lancer. And I had this whole like complex backstory for my character, and how she was like raised by these like AI programmer. Like she was raised by these like AI scientists who worked on this like super top secret like the most advanced AI that you can make. It's predictive. It's part of it's like a part of a military company. So it's meant to like predict wars before they even happen and stuff like that. And you know, shit went down. Oh shoot! I'm sorry.
Oh no!
I'm sorry.
That's your one. Things went happened.
Things happened, and so basically the enemy. Lancer is so cool. At Ross, this is my weekly Lancer plug. The CompCon for Lancer is completely free. You can go on like compcon.app or whatever, and it's completely free. The rulebook itself, you know, of course you can find it online, but I would highly recommend supporting them. The art is gorgeous. I don't know if you're familiar with like kill 1 million demons. I forgot the exact number, but it's like kill 10,000 demons. It's a comic. The artist for that comic is one of the devs and also the lead artist of Lancer.
Yeah, getting people to play other RPGs that's not D&D, I definitely agree, is kind of hard.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, so like the store right now, we're next weekend, not this weekend. Next weekend? Yeah, next weekend. It's going to be Free RPG Day, and Free RPG Day has a bunch of different RPGs that aren't D&D, and getting people to play and or run them is fairly difficult because people don't know them.
You want someone to run Lancer? Because I can run Lancer.
I don't know if Lancer has anything I can read off. So our current schedule.
I have I paid for it. I have my own Lancer materials.
Well, so our current schedule for Free RPG Day is we are going to have a 5e thing that was supplied, a Pathfinder 2 thing, a familiar problem, and if you don't know what a familiar problem is and you like Critical Role, it was made by Marisha Ray and one of the people that did Honey Heist or whatever that's called. Brain Not Working. But yeah, we're gonna have that, and I think we have 2 people who are scheduled to run that, which is really exciting as a Critical Role fan myself. But then we're also gonna have a DCC, Danger in the Air. What else are we having? I think that's it. I think that's it for right now. I think we're still trying to schedule some stuff. But like a couple of those aren't D&D, and it took us a while to schedule them because we have to find people who want to run them.
Yeah, that's, you know, I do see that happening all the time. It is in fact very difficult to find people to run things that are not D&D, to play things that are not D&D. But
I would play more, like for our LGBTQ RPG day that we did on the 11th. We had a bunch of RPGs that were made by LGBTQ folks, and it was like we had Wickedness, we had Thirsty Sword Lesbians.
I was about to say, if you don't have Thirsty Sword Lesbians, what's the point?
Hi, Northerly Potato.
Hello.
But we had Thirsty Sword Lesbians, and then we also had Wanderhome, which are all really good.
Wanderhome is one I've been in the prep stages. I got Wanderhome as part of a I think it's one of the itch.io bundles that's like TTRPGs to support trans rights in Texas.
Yep.
I don't know if it's still up, but if it is, I would highly recommend like supporting it. You pay like I think $5 or $10 and you get a whole bunch of really amazing TTRPGs, including Wanderhome.
Yeah, no, there was a lot of good stuff in that bundle. I know a couple employees here got the bundle. And if it's not still up, we also sell it in store if you want to come purchase it, just saying.
Oh yeah, definitely. I've been in the prep stages of running a Wanderhome campaign for a hot minute now. And
see you next Friday. Manufacturing's leaving.
Oh yeah, see you next Friday. Thanks for tuning in. But Wanderhome's really cool and good.
Yeah.
And there's just so many good TTRPGs, and Lancer is definitely one of my favorites. Honestly, Lancer's one of my favorites. I just like it a lot. In case you couldn't tell, I do just like it a lot. It's got mecha, it's got robots in it. That's definitely a big draw for me. But also, like, my other advice for the one kind of gripe I have with Lancer is that it's really not very RP conducive. It's not very story conducive. In the sense that there's not a lot of like things built into the game. Like there's the downtime system and there are like skill checks and things like that, but there's not too many things in the game that'll like let you do things that aren't mech mechanics. And so when I was playing and running Lancer, we definitely had to like kind of homebrew a little bit our own stuff to make it more story conducive. But besides that, it's very strategy heavy, which I love. It's about mecha, which I love. The art's really cool. Yeah, it is in fact 6 billion demons. The orbital dropkick is super cool. They're the one, like, they're one of the devs of, I believe they are one of the devs. They're not, I know they're the lead artist. They do all the art in the handbook, but also I'm pretty sure they were involved in like the development process. They were involved in the development of Lancer as well, and they're also working on a different TTRPG now that I can't fully remember the name of, but I'm quite excited because it'll be, I think it's in beta now, but I'm pretty excited for like the full release and stuff because I've been looking at some of the intro materials for it and I'm quite excited. But yeah, I definitely like checking out a lot of other TTRPGs. I've played quite a few other ones and I always like collecting more. I kind of have like a serial thing. It's like a running joke with some of my friends of how often I just like to impulse buy TTRPG PDFs, like just buy new TTRPG manuals just to like, and almost all of them I never get around to playing them. But I still love collecting them.
There's some that are out there that are really cool.
There's a lot of really cool ones out there. Like right now, I'm trying to run a campaign for Wanderhome, which I'm very much looking forward to. And like I've been putting so much effort into that one. I love Wanderhome, and I'm very much looking forward to like when I can get around to running it. I kind of just have to find a time when my friends and I are like have time to do it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
But it's really cool, and there's a lot of really cool TTRPGs out there. And yeah, this is my propaganda for
play more RPGs.
Play more RPGs.
Just play more.
There's so many good ones out there.
There's just so many good ones. They are, and I honestly, I'm bad. I play D&D almost exclusively, even though I support other RPGs. It's just kind of what my friends group wants to play usually.
That's fair. Like, I didn't really get the opportunity to play a ton of non-D&D TTRPGs until I started playing in the group that I play in now, because a lot of us are also just into other TTRPGs in general, so it's not just me. Like, all the time, one of us will see, like, a cool TTRPG. I think we played, like, Kamigakari, which is, like, kind of like an anime TTRPG.
That's fine.
There's another magical
so there's also one. There's like Big Guys Small Mouth, right, which is like literally based on basically any type of anime ever. You could be anything. The store also has that one. Right now on Thursdays, we have an open game for Deadlands, which I've heard really good things. So like if people like cowboys and want to play a TGRPG and live in Connecticut, come to the store on Thursdays and you can play the cowboys. It's just Deadlands Cowboys. Just come play cowboys. It's great. Ooh. And it's like, and again, it's completely open because we've had a hard time trying to find people to play it.
Yeah, honestly,
makes me sad.
I know it's rough, but that sounds really fun. Man, there's so many TTRPGs.
There's so many good things that people are just sleeping on them. Stop sleeping on other games, y'all. If you like role playing and stuff like that, don't be intimidated by something new, right? Like, you'll probably have a bunch of fun with it.
I know it's kind of difficult sometimes because a lot of these TTRPGs also involve like learning how to play a new game. That's kind of usually the daunting thing. Again, going back to Lancer, like Lancer's system is pretty funky. It's really different from like D&D, and if you're only used to playing D&D, like it's definitely a learning curve. There's like
so like I play, there's a bunch, like there's the D6 systems, right? And that's like Burning Wheel and Torchbearer, which I played a little bit of those, and then
Yeah, like a lot of the Star Wars TTRPGs, I've really been wanting to get into more of the Star Wars TTRPGs. A lot of them look really cool, but they all use D6 systems.
yeah. And then there's the, what's it called? It's the Steam. It's not the Steam. Or the not Cyberpunk. The other one.
The other Cyberpunk one.
The Shadow something.
Blades in the Dark.
No.
I also like Blades in the Dark. That's another really good TTRPG. I was gonna say Shadowhunters. That's completely
Shadowrun.
Shadowrun. Yeah,
I did the quick
Shadowrun.
Google. Shadowrun. That's a D10 system.
Oh, that's funky. I've heard of Shadowrun, but I've never played it.
It seems really interesting. But I've tried to create a character, and it's really complicated. And we did like any time I've started a session to play Shadowrun with people, we never really make it past making characters because it takes all night, and then we're like, I'm tired.
That's why I've usually when I'm DMing something new that people haven't played before, I specifically have like, okay, here's session. If it's a one shot, I'm like, it's never a one shot.
Yeah.
It's a two shot. There's session 0 and session 1.
You always need a session 0.
You always need a session 0, especially when you're dealing with a new system, just so everyone can get familiar with it, make their characters. We can all make our characters together. Like, I do that a lot.
What's the favorite character you've ever made?
That's difficult. I get attached to a lot of my characters. The funny thing is, a bunch of my favorite characters are ones I've made for one shots. And so I use them once and never again. And I feel really bad. Like, one of my favorite characters I've made is Xanthi, who's they're a human, but they were raised by I never know how to pronounce it.
Aarakocra?
Yeah,
Aarakocra?
Aarakocra.
Yeah.
They're raised by Aarakocra because, they were raised in kind of a religious monastery, but when they were like really young, like 3, I built like a whole world. I built like a whole thing for Xanthi. I put so much effort into this character for a one shot.
And I do that too. It's fine.
But there's this whole like system of religions, and the Aarakocra are part of have a different religious framework that are kind of have been at conflict with the religious system that Xanthi was initially born into. And so the monastery that he was born in and raised in was attacked by Aarakocra, and basically everyone inside was killed.
Oh no.
And it was, pretty rough.
And then he was taken by the Aarakocra.
And he was taken by them because he was basically the sole survivor.
Yeah.
And there was just this one sympathetic Aarakocra who took him in instead of just didn't have the heart to kill a toddler.
Yeah.
And just decided to take them in.
So I tend to have the most recent character that I've had time to be with for a little bit syndrome of they become my favorite.
Oh, me too. Right now, my current favorite is obviously the character I'm playing right now in my current D&D campaign.
Yeah. Well, so that was the character that was the Curse of Strahd campaign character, because all my other characters have been really short time, so I haven't had time to sit with them yet. And so I already talked about how how he became a vampire and how he ended up in Barovia. But throughout the case, and he started out as a rogue, and my whole initial thought process with him was that I didn't want to be your average, I'm sad, edgy vampire. So I gave him he was sad, but he had a really good heart. He was a sweet pea.
Aww.
Yeah, no, his name is Hendrik. He's so sweet. I love him. But he was a real sad boy because his whole thing was that he just wanted to learn to control himself so he could go home. Because he didn't know what was left of his home, but he didn't want to go back until because he didn't want to hurt anybody. That was his whole thing, and he didn't even know if his fiance was alive or anything. And that was just that was a real funny thing that happened during the Curse of the campaign, because when we met some of the characters, one of groups, one of our characters in the group was like, would hit on him, and he'd be like, I have a fiance.
Oh.
And he didn't even know if she was alive or not, but his whole thing was that he was just like, I have a please stop. Please don't flirt with me, thank you.
I'm sorry, that reminds me a little bit of like a manga that I read not too long ago called Jigokuraku, which is really good, by the way. It's quite good, and the main character has a similar thing of like, no, he has a wife.
Yeah.
All of the other fan service characters try and hit on him, and he's like, excuse me, I have a wife.
No, but what's really funny though is it became the my girlfriend in Canada joke.
Oh my god.
Because like they were like, where is she? And it was like, well, she's back home. And they were like, so she's in Canada.
So she's in Canada.
Yeah. So that became the joke, was that like she didn't, until that I was able to prove that she was real, she wasn't real. But like throughout the whole campaign, he was just like, he was very trusting and like fairly kind. And then eventually through some RP decisions and stuff like that, he became a paladin.
Ooh.
Yeah. We really, really needed a paladin, and his personality fit really well. So he, through some stuff and me convincing Ryan to let me multi-class into paladin without having strength to do so. I had the charisma. I did not have the strength. My strength was low, and essentially I said I won't take any of the proficiencies that you would get from a paladin, because a lot of them is weapon based, and it would make sense that if I'm not strong enough, I wouldn't be able to use those weapons. And so that's how we agreed that I would become a paladin, is I just want to get the extra proficiencies. So I was a paladin with a rapier, essentially.
A rapier paladin.
Yeah, no, it was great. No, it was fun. Because you could build a paladin with like little strength. You just can't multi-class into it, which I think is silly. But so then he became a paladin, and I hard shifted into like being a paladin, and it was completely by oath. I was an oath paladin. It wasn't for a god, and his whole thing was that he just wanted to protect everybody, and he was just a good boy, but he was really sad. And then we found out that my fiance was dead.
Aww.
Because we had been trying. Our cleric had been trying to send a message, and because Barovia is weird, there's a very small percentage that it will work, and we kept failing. And then when it worked, it didn't reach anybody.
Oh.
And it was kind of like, she's dead. And my character lost it.
I'm sorry. That's my favorite thing, when characters just go absolute, like, off the wall.
Well, so what happened was that at that point in time, we were really nervous because we thought we were, like, about to die. Like, we were getting really close to having to fight Strahd, and all of us were trying to figure out ways to get stronger so we wouldn't die. And sorry, my nose is kind of stubby. But so we so at that time we decided to split up for a little bit, and that was right after he found that out. So he did two things, because his whole point was that because he was finally at this point trying to starting to learn to control himself, and because he was so upset, he just wanted to kind of get this over with, and he was really worried about the team. It became less about going home and more about getting them home, because he had nothing to live for anymore at that point. His fiance, his whole point was that he wanted to go home to be better for her. And so he went and ate the remains of a really old, because there's a Gothias tree. What Ryan did was that on Yester Hill, if you don't know, because he added a bunch of homebrew, is that the tree on Yester Hill that makes all the blights and stuff is a Gothias tree, and there's a really ancient vampire that was staked, and the tree grew from the stake, essentially. And so it was like the vampire itself was paralyzed because of the stake, but still kind of alive, but essentially skin and bone. So it was really easy just to go in there and eat this vampire. It got real dark. So not to go into details, but I ate this vampire. I leveled up as a vampire because we were using a third-party vampire mechanic thing from Grim Hollow. And then after that, he was not like he leveled up, but kind of just didn't feel different. Like he thought it would help, and he still felt like crap. So then he went to the edge of the mists, like because it's surrounded by like deadly mist, and he just kind of went like, I want to talk. and our whole campaign, the chaotic evil being Vampire, the god of all vampires, had been messing with me. So then I rolled really high, and I got to talk to Vampire, and I was like, I want to make a deal with you. And I pointed out very logically all of the things that Strahd had been doing, and why it was bad for vampires, and why if left able to be in charge, Strahd would essentially drive Barovia into ruin, and he wouldn't get any more vampires out of his deal with Strahd. And I was like, make me your champion. I can do a better job for you.
Oh.
The only thing is I want these people to be safe. I want them out.
Oh.
And I struck a deal essentially with the devil. and it worked. I got it. And then we got a big boon, like the whole party, like if they were like around me and considered my ally, they got the boon of being like we had werewolves in the party, which usually if you shift into a werewolf, you have to make a check to see if you retain your mental fortitude, essentially. They didn't have to do that anymore. Like it was great. We were dope. All from this roleplay decision of me just selling my soul. And
selling your soul to the devil.
Woo! I love it. And so we then like went into the rest of the campaign. When we were fighting Strahd, the boon kind of went away. It was kind of like Vampire wanted me to be like, basically was testing me to see if I could defeat Strahd with my own abilities. So when we fought Strahd, we didn't have this, but it helped us get there essentially. And we won. And then everyone got spirited away, essentially. And then I was left there by myself as the new Count of Barovia. Yeah. I plan to make a sequel campaign for this with my friends. But,
that's sick.
Yeah. No, but like it was one of the coolest things ever. And this... his head was a mess.
I think, oh my god, I had something kind of like that. I mentioned it before, my Lancer character, whom I love.
We have a follow.
Dearly.
Thank you, Monty1, for the follow.
Yeah, thank you for following. I don't get follower notifications because I'm just looking at chat. So
Sorry.
Thank you, Heather, for reminding. But yeah, one of my favorite characters I've made is probably, or just experiences I've had with a character, is my Lancer character, because classes work a little bit differently. So basically, her class is Hackerman. There's kind of like she's like a Hackerman slash like AI slash like kind of robot specialist. Her backstory, I have a love of making characters that are street urchins. I don't know why, I just love making street urchin characters. But her backstory is that she was basically like, doesn't really quite remember what happened, but basically after her parents' facility was attacked and her parents were presumably killed, she kind of just like managed to escape somehow. She was like she was like 12 or so. She managed to escape, and she was like, her parents are basically like, she idolized her parents. She wanted to be an AI like programmer like her parents. And so they were teaching her to be one. They were teaching her to work with other, like, they were to her, like, she didn't really know a whole lot about the top secret, like, AI project.
Yeah.
But what she did know is that her parents made AI, like, were mech designers and helped make the AI for mechs. And so she's like, I want to do that. And her parents were teaching her how to do that and, like, work with all the military mechs and all that stuff. And so when she was kind of like left to fend for herself, she used those skills she had, taught herself a bit more, and basically became like a back alley mech repairer. Because, in this world, there's like military mechs, but they're also just like people that have them, like, you know, organized crime and stuff like that. Like, it's kind of like just a type of weapon. And so she ended up becoming like a back alley mech mechanic.
Yeah.
But eventually, she was basically drafted into the military mech program as a pilot, and she was like, oh, okay. And the plot of that campaign is actually really cool, about like, oh man, because initially our party was basically assigned on a suicide mission of like, oh, in this world, like, there's a little bit of homebrew. We kind of involved some Lancer lore, but also just like a pinch of homebrew stuff. And so in this world, like, it's like a sci-fi place, but there's no aliens have not been proven yet. Like, mechs and stuff exist, and people exist on like other planets, but we haven't quite proven that aliens exist yet. And so basically, the government finds evidence on a planet, on some remote planet, that's like basically a mining town, that like, oh, I think there's aliens here, and they need people to like scout it and check it out, but because it's aliens, they have no idea what to do about it. And so they kind of just like draft this team of people that know what they're doing with mechs, that have experience, but are also like, they wouldn't be missed if they died, basically.
Yeah.
So basically sent us on a suicide mission. And so the plot's really cool. The aliens end up, we make first contact with aliens. It was really fun. But the plot of my character was that, so she's living her life. She's like, oh, I get to work on as many mechs as I like. She's like, now she views it as being a step closer to what she wants to do, which is what her parents did, be a mech designer.
Yeah.
And one of the big plot twists with my character. So I wrote this whole backstory for her of like, oh, she was raised by her parents who taught her like everything who were teaching her about like mechs and programming. So she's basically like, she's the hacker man of the group. She's like the AI specialist. I was definitely more of like a support build. I was like a sniper support build that was really fun. There's this whole class, so there's like kind of different classes of mechs that all have their own unique abilities depending on what they call it. Mech manufacturers, like in the lore of Lancer, it's like getting mechs from different manufacturers, and different manufacturers are known for different things. Like there's one manufacturer that's known for like flashy, kind of like the equivalent of sports cars of mechs. There's another manufacturer that's very heavy duty, military, like these things are built like a tank. And then there's my favorite manufacturer, which is Horus, which, like, canonically, their whole thing is that they have, like, this tech that literally no one knows where it comes from. Like, it's completely unknown. And
like
so
Evangelion unknown?
A little bit.
Okay.
It's a little bit, like, Ava. That's part of why I really like it. It's a little bit Ava-inspired. And it's literally just, like, they have no idea where a lot of this tech comes from. But it does things. And so one of the kind of later game mechanics, because of course I took a Horus mech, my mech could generate like a small field black hole, basically, like create like a tiny singularity point. And we would affectionately call it the black hole gun, because that's exactly what it was. And I could just like, it would just open up like a small black hole, and I would basically be like ground support of like, because one of the funky things about Lancer combat is you fight people and also mechs. And people are obviously a lot easier to beat than mechs, so my mech was usually the one that would clear out enemy troops, like foot troops, because I could just open up. They're usually like 1 or 2 HP compared to a mech.
You're like area of effect person.
Yeah, I was definitely an AoE person / like sniper. That was definitely what my character did more. But I wrote this whole story for her, and so the big plot twist in our campaign was that at some point they were confronting, so the story ended up spiraling into like this big like 3-pronged political intrigue, like 3-pronged political intrigue kind of campaign, where there's like 3 different factions. They're all doing stuff. Then there's also like some independent faction. It's questionable. There's a lot happening. It was really cool, but there's a lot there. And so basically we were confronting one of the major parties of an opposing faction. And so she's like this really, she's part of a religious organization, but it's trial through combat, where they worship violence and combat.
I mean, that happens even in D&D too.
Yeah, it happens. And so she's like vying to be the battle pope. It's wild. I love this whole system. But basically she takes my character hostage. Because my character is very much like a ranged unit. I'm AoE, I'm a sniper. I didn't have that much mech HP. Definitely meant for long distance combat and absolutely not close combat. So what this enemy did is zeroed in on the fact that my mech is a ranged mech and immediately attacked me at close range. I couldn't do a whole lot because my mech is not meant for close range combat. And so I got like super destroyed. And so she took my character hostage. Mm-hmm. And so of course the other party members were like trying their best. They were trying to like rescue me. But things went wrong. And basically she had like a gun to my chest, was like, I'll do it. If they didn't give in to their demands of turning themselves in too. And so they were like, basically, they rolled kind of bad, things went wrong, and my character got shot in the chest.
Oh no.
And of course everyone was like, oh no, I'm basically dead now.
Yeah.
But instead of my character bleeding out and dying, my character instead had a hole in their chest where you could see electronics and wiring.
Oh, you were a mech yourself!
And so the big plot twist was actually that my character was a robot themselves. Like, the secret AI project that my parents were working on
was
actually me the whole time.
You were XJ9.
Yeah, I was XJ9. And the other plot twist was like, I was like one of many iterations of it. And so there's like I wrote this into my character's backstory that like there's a part that my character doesn't have a lot of memory of the time between when they were kind of like a rogue mech mechanic, like when they were on the streets, between when their parents got attacked and between when their parents died and when they got recruited. Kind of hazy. Well, not hazy, like that part they knew, but basically there's kind of like some gaps in my character's memory.
So it's 12:59.
Oh yeah.
Sorry to cut you off.
It's okay.
But it is our wrap-up time.
But yeah, that was probably one of my favorite characters that I've made. She had a really cool story, and I really love what happened with
Let's
her.
close out with where you are on the. It looks like you were able to get the leg done without instructions.
I cheated a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I used instructions because I was missing a step, and I was like, okay, shoot. But he's got legs. There's
legs.
There's 2 legs here.
It's only just 1 o'clock. My phone.
I started on the waist bit. Yeah. And so next week we're probably gonna finish up the body, the rest of the waist and the body, and the arms and the head. That's what's left.
Real quick, do we want to show off the LEDs on the Gundam, the unicorn? I can turn off the lights.
Oh, that might be fun.
Okay. While you do that, I'll get the Gundam.
Give me one moment. Okay, we're gonna clear out this space a little bit so we can see things, so I can have a place to put him. It's gonna take a quick second because I need to get him out. He is not missing pieces, but I've detached, please excuse the fact that like I've detached his horn, like he's kind of in transportation mode and not display mode because the battery pack that's in there. Yes, that thing. And so
Where'd you put the horn?
it's inside here.
Okay.
I've detached the horn. Here he is in all of his glory. I mean, you saw him last week when I was panel lining, but here he is again. Just gonna roll out these leg units. Oh, well, sometimes that just happens. Here's the leg units. Roll those out. Here he is. And we're going to very gently connect the battery pack to his little back wire. Yeah, it goes this way. Very gently connect the battery pack to his back wire. We're gonna set him down. Wait, let me make sure we can see all of him here. Oh yeah, we're supposed to roll out these things. I just condensed them for the sake of traveling. These pieces, I kind of have some trouble with keeping them in place. I know there's something I'm supposed to do, but I have not figured out how to do it, so I will most likely kind of just like adhesive them in place. But okay, you can turn off the light.
Light off. It is black over there.
Okay. Well, let me make sure he's
Okay.
on. There's the eyes. You look so cool. You can only see the LEDs. But he looks so cool. Here he is in all his glory. I mean, now that the lights are on, you can't see the LEDs as well. But he looks really cool. I'm really happy with how well he turned out really well. I'm super happy with him.
But yeah, that's today's stream.
Yeah, thank you all for tuning in once again this week. I will see you next week with continuing the Amaim Ghost. Like we mentioned earlier, don't forget, if you're into D&D and stuff, check out Feedback Loop on Tuesday evenings. And if you've missed any part of this stream that you want to catch up on, we post our VODs on Wednesdays on the YouTube channel. And yeah,
I will not be on mic next week unless Salem wants to show up to the store again. But thank you everyone who showed up today. Remember to follow and sub if you want to support the stream, or come to the store if you want to support the store. We sell a bunch of gunpla. We have a bunch of RPGs and D&D books. It's great. It's nerd mecca here, man. So have a great day, everybody. Bye.
goodbye. Nice.